Welcome to the Rugby League Outsiders prediction video. This is the only prediction video on the internet that counts, in our opinion. My name's Craig.
And my name's Karl. Hull KR demolished Sulford this week in the early game, and we saw Leigh Leopards come back against the Warrington Wolves. This week, though, full 6 games.
Right, before we get into it, I just want to be a big shout out to our members that have joined over the last few weeks. Obviously, we're incredibly appreciative of the financial support and, you know, the views, the support that those people give us. So big shout out to you. If you want to join the channel, there is a link down in the description. Okay, normal service has resumed in the Super League. So we've got 6 big games this week coming up. And but before we talk about that, Karl, let's get into our rapid fire recap. Kicking off Thursday night where Salford took on Hull KR.
Yeah, Salford 12, Hull KR 74, absolutely dominated this game. It was it was very one-sided and it was hard to watch at times. Hull KR's biggest win of the Super League season, and Joe Burgess with 4 tries.
Moving on to the Friday night, and Saints took on Castleford Tigers.
St Helens crushed Castleford 40-0 at the Totally Wicked Stadium. One-sided affair. Highlight of the game, Harry Robertson's 90-metre intercept try. Stunning bit of work.
Points on here. Atkin does well. Steps out of the tackle. Kicks across, but Robertson's caught it. There's trouble here. Robertson's racing away. Rooney to beat. He's going, Robertson. He's got support. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. What a try! Harry Robertson races the length of the field just when Castleford thought they were in. Robertson picks their pocket.
And a nail-biter at Leigh Sports Village where Leigh took on Warrington Wolves.
Leopards 20, Wolves 16. Warrington were firmly in the lead, 14-2 at one point. Leigh mounted a stunning comeback in the last 10 minutes, and the LSV went absolutely crazy, as it has been doing this season.
Yeah, and your comments on that game then, Karl, was that Warrington were a different prospect with Danny Walker back in the side.
They were a different prospect with Danny Walker. We'll get into that when we start talking about the games. But they came. The biggest difference was they came with an intensity that they haven't been playing with this season, Warrington. Straight from the off, first 5-10 minutes, I was like, yeah, Warrington mean business again this week. This is the Warrington that we've seen in the Challenge Cup final. This is the Warrington we've seen when they've been playing well. Obviously, we know they're a Jekyll and Hyde side, but want to be in the end.
Right, okay, let's look at this week then, Karl. So it kicks off this week, Thursday, the 7th of August. I really can't believe I'm saying that. And we've got 3rd place Leigh taking on 5th place Leeds Rhinos. Leigh currently 5 from the last 6 and Leeds 3 from the last 6. Previous scores then. So previously Leeds beat Leigh 30 points to 48.
Yeah, Leigh are on a cracking run out there at the minute. They are the team to beat. And this for me, I don't know about you, I think this is the game of the round this week.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think, as soon as this come out, I thought, this is going to be a great match and a great way to start the week. Interestingly, though, this Thursday night game, so I think Jamie Peacock just put out an article on one of the online Rugby League magazines, and he was talking about this Thursday game. The game was actually about growing the game, moving to 14 teams in the Super League, all this kind of stuff. But he did mention this Thursday night game, saying that it's pivotal in the sporting week, because we have to compete with the likes of Premiership darts, and other sports. So having an absolute cracker like this on Thursday is a brilliant way to do it.
Yeah, it's pivotal for growing the game as well. And do you remember when Super League started? I think Super League were one of the first sports to actually have a Thursday night game. And as Rugby League fans do, we were all going, this is crap. Why are you having a game on a Thursday night? Rugby should be on a weekend. And actually, it's my favourite game of the week now, because you're still in like work mode in the middle of the week, and then you get home on a night and you've got something to relax and enjoy. And yeah, I think Thursday night games is becoming one of the biggest of the week.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'd be hard for people to get there. You know what I mean? If like travel,
I get that. Yeah,
it's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? And what have you? Especially like you cross M62 or perhaps even further afield. But in terms of like watching on telly, this is, like you said, is one of the highlights of the week. Anyway,
so it's important we have a good game, I think, is what we need to be saying. So we nailed it this week.
I think this is going to be a cracker, and I think Leigh almost slipped up, didn't they, against Warrington? I know Warrington were good, but they almost slipped up. We've just gone.
They did, but what I'll say from that is they still managed to win.
Yeah,
and you often say, don't you, about champion teams that they manage to win when they're not necessarily playing the best. So yeah, Leigh were way off where they've been compared to the last couple of weeks, but they found that way to win, and they were under immense pressure in that last 10 minutes to get a couple of tries and get themselves back in front. But they managed to do it. So for me, that's another good mark of a great side, and one I think is going to be challenging for the grand final now.
Well, and the other thing is Leeds have just had a week off. So
yeah, it seems like ages since we've watched Leeds. I know it's only 2 weeks, but their last game was an absolute cracker as well, wasn't it? Against Trinity, 15 points to 14. It finished, didn't it, at Trinity? So. What did you take from Leeds' last game, thinking back?
Well, 2 things. First of all, they weren't outplayed. It was just boiled down to that moment of brilliance. A couple of minutes before, Brodie Croft tried to knock one over with the drop goal there, was unsuccessful, and that ultimately cost them the game. They could have walked away with the game there. Mason Leno stepped up, bang, kicked the goal over, and the rest is history. So, they're part of this middle group of teams that on their day can beat anybody, but also picking up losses as well. Another thing that could be pivotal this week is obviously Brodie Croft was picked up for this trip.
Tripped him.
Well, I mean, some people are saying that it wasn't a trip.
It was a trip. He stuck his leg out and tripped him up.
I mean, 100%. I agree.
Right, good. I'm glad you agree on that one, because trolling were about to happen.
But it goes up in the disciplinary. Match review panel, whatever, this week to find out what's going to happen with it. I don't think he's going to pick up a ban, but you just don't know. And Leeds without Brodie Croft, I don't know how they get on there, especially against tough opposition in Leigh.
The big matchup for me, which I'm really looking forward to, is Jared O'Connor versus Edwin Ipape. If they're both playing, by the way, because we never know at this point of recording, do we? I think watching those two go up against each other this week's going to be great, because they both like to run from dummy half. And that's a big matchup for me, that is.
Yeah, and Owen Trout, I mean, he scored that try at the weekend. He's absolutely on fire. I think this week off is going to play a part, Yeah, and maybe I'm just being a little bit romantic about Leeds taking the win. We'll talk about our predictions in a minute, but I think they're going to come back energised, reset. All those little niggles that you have this part in the season, that have had a bit of time to work on those. Obviously, Leigh did that. Leigh have
been riding the wave though now for a few weeks, haven't they? They've had a big win after big win after big win. And you do sense, is there going to be a bit of burnout at some point there? Did you see Derek Beaumont's interview this week?
No, I didn't say. I've read a couple of like follow-on articles on the back of it.
So he did mention the Thursday night games, and he's saying, like, it's unfair sometimes. Sometimes you might have a Saturday or Sunday game, and then you're having to roll round and play a Thursday night game.
Yeah, and you barely get a training session.
Yeah, the players don't get much rest. So he's not a big fan of it. However, he said if it works for the broadcaster, then we've just got to carry on doing it. He also then did say, I'm going off the boil here, he went, BBC turned up for a game and all they did was stick one camera on floodlight. That was it. He went, so if they ever do that and we get told we have to play a Thursday night game, he says, I'm not letting them in ground.
Yeah, I think Derek Beaumont was one of these where it's like we've got to get some power back from these broadcasters.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And sooner rather than later, we know traditional media is on its, whether it's on its way out or certainly less popular. You know what I mean?
Changing landscape, I think, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, exactly. Very eloquently put there, Karl. It surprised me there. Obviously swallowed a dictionary at some point this week, but. No, so and I think he's right. I think we do need to just hold our sport in a bit more high regard and think, we ain't going to pimp it out for next to no.
Yeah.
And I think again, different story. We're going off track
this
here.
Is a set of six debate.
The BBC has been turning out some absolute dog shit this season. To put it mildly, to be honest. And so, anyway, that's that. Right, so we've got to come down.
Just Leigh Leopards, one thing.
Right.
The show that they're putting on, it just keeps getting better, doesn't it?
Did you see, they've even done the Coldplay Kiss Cam with the league tour. And, did you see that? Just little things like that. Obviously, that'd be Terry, no doubt, that's behind that.
Things like that is why the Leigh should actually have a night game. Like they have all the fireworks, don't they?
Yeah.
Pyro party and all the rest of it. So yeah, it looks great on TV, and especially when it's a full house as well and it's bouncing. Anyway, let's get on to the predictions. We're waffling.
It's not waffle, mate. This is like cutting edge Super League news. It's speculation, all right?
Speculation.
We'll call it speculation. Right, go on.
Am I going first?
Yeah, but I know who you're going to go for.
Yeah, Leeds.
Yeah, Leeds. That surprises me, mate.
I know it does.
That really surprised me. Go on.
I think Leigh are playing brilliant. And I've been saying it for weeks, haven't I? But I think the week off for Leeds is actually going to play a part here, because Leigh have had some real high intensity games the last 3 or 4 weeks. You've had Wigan, haven't you? The Trinity game. Yeah, they're just. Although they're playing brilliant rugby, I think Leeds week off is going to play him in good stead. Well,
it's away at Leigh Sports Village.
Yeah.
This is a tough one to call. I know there'll be all those people in the comments now giving us crap saying, no, this ain't tough to call, bloody yada. Right, it's easy in the comments, isn't it? It's easy.
Oh, yeah,
It's dead easy. So
it's easy to come back and say, I told you so when you've got it right. But when people get it wrong, we don't often hear from them.
Well, no, you often go and find them though, Karl, don't you? Right, I'm going Leeds as well. However, I think if Brodie Croft picks up some kind of ban for this trip, whatever it is, I think that could play a part. And this game could be Leigh could come absolutely steaming and just smash Leeds. But I think the week off is going to play a part, and I'm going Leeds as well.
Right, yeah. I think I'm going to upset a few people this week. People have been saying in comments that I'm a undercover lather.
Oh yeah, you are right. You said you went there and palling it with Derek.
With my new cardigan.
Yeah. Right. Shall we move on to the Friday night then?
Yeah.
Couple of incredible games here. First one, Wakey sitting in 6th place, taking on Saints, sitting in 4th. Wakey, 4 from the last 6. We know about their brilliance this year. Saints, quietly going about their business. Some of the highlights this week were just incredible. Wendell Saylor is just like...
No, Tristan.
Sorry, Tristan Saylor.
If Wendell came back back and he was back on the pitch and he played well, I'd get like, right, okay.
That'd be like your comeback next year, when you pull your boots on again. Anyway, so Tristan Saylor, some of the skill that is on show from him is incredible. Robertson, lightning fast. I don't know if you saw that break that he made. I
saw it, mate.
Like roadrunner, down the pitch. They were just brilliant. Absolutely, just quietly, just getting on with it. And Percival's try. Did you see that?
A beautiful pass from Johnny Lomax. Of course, while this ball is going from side to side, Moses Mbai puts the pass in, I beg your pardon. There's an attempt to kick the ball. That just holds up the defence of Castleford Tigers.
One hell of a line.
Yeah,
it looked like he was travelling at like twice the speed of sound.
Yeah, well, Saints look a different side, don't they, when he's firing like that? Because obviously Percival's had some injuries, hasn't he, this season? But at the minute, he's just he's like he looks quicker than he did earlier on in the season. I think. I don't know if they've done a lot of conditioning training with him or what, but he looked absolutely rapid at the weekend.
Well, they're 2 weeks off, didn't they? They're more or less 2 weeks off ahead of this game.
Yeah, true. Maybe it's just the fact that he's got loads of young lads around him in the team now. He's not the youngest player anymore, is he? And he's just having to keep his speed up. But he looked great. He looked really good. Saints, you say they're going under the radar, but they're in a real strong position, aren't they now? And that old saying keeps coming back around, never write off the Saints.
Yeah. Maybe they're going to peak right at the
right end of the season. Maybe. I don't know. Let's go on to Wakey then. Wakefield, it feels like it's been a few weeks, doesn't it, before since we've seen Wakefield play again. But another team like Leigh, who are just sort of riding a wave at the minute, and it's at Trinity. That plays a big part in this game for me.
I completely agree. And I think... I think Saints have got to go out to bury Wakey, like they've proved at Leeds. You can't give them like a little bit of a gnat's hair.
No, can't give him a sniff at all, can you?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like Leeds may have felt they were in a comfortable position towards the back end of the last game.
Yeah,
and then Wakey brought it back and then ultimately scored. The drop goal and took the win. So you just can't give them. You've got to bury them, like.
Yeah. Why this game's exciting for me is because if you watch the last couple of weeks, these two teams, they like scoring tries and they both play an expansive style of rugby. Neither of these two sides are known for like the up the middle, up the jumper style rugby. They like to play expansive styles. I'll just look at the potential lineups we could have this week.
Yeah.
So it's Saints, you got Percival, Dagnall, Robertson, and Felt, right?
Dagnall is
what an attacking line that is.
Yeah.
And that's going up against a Trinity back line of you got Lachlan Walsley, Corey Hall, Ollie Pratt, and Jaden Myers. Just brilliant attacking players. All pretty much got youth on the side.
I'm a bit worried about these notes here. I'm just looking down there. So you got Lino drop goal, boom. What's that about?
It just says boom.
Yeah. What's
that about? That was the moment he sank the Rhinos.
Yeah, I know. Well, you've just put like boom on there. You're like,
maybe I want to say it. I don't know. Forget about the notes. Anyway,
right, okay.
Where's your notes?
No,
back of a fag packet.
No,
right, come on.
I have got some. I have got some notes here. Right, it's a close game. There's a reason why Wakey are there in sixth place, holding that last playoff spot, and Saints have worked their way up, haven't they? There was a time when we're like, are Saints going to be in the playoffs? And they're up there now in fourth place. So, and there's a reason for that. Another tight game. Definitely front loaded this week's set of games.
Yeah, if we start getting on to the back three games. Yeah, but the first three are quality out there. Who do you think has got the better form out of the two?
I think Saints. And the reason being is that I put it down to a little bit more consistent in their approach. I think Wakey at times, there have been a couple of little blips. And although when they're on fire, they are literally on fire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone loves watching Wakey at the minute. Whereas Saints, it has been a little bit mundane. If you go back beyond the last 6 games, perhaps look at the 10, 12 games that has been already, you know what I mean? That they've just kind of been warming up and putting in consistent shifts. So, that said, some incredible individuals in there as well.
Right, go on then. Prediction time, who are you going with?
I'm going...
Nervous energy.
I'm going Saints. I'm going Saints to win.
I'm going Trinity, I am.
I thought you might. Because you're a closet Trinity fan.
No. I can't be a closet Trinity fan and a Leigh fan and... Not a Leeds fan. Anyway, I think Trinity will win. I think Trinity, I think it's going to be really close. I think they enjoy these evening games with a packed house. They've had a week off.
Yeah.
You say I've thought about it more tactically than you. I'm going Wakey win.
Right, okay. Let's move on to the next game then. Warrington sitting in 8th place, taking on Wigan 2nd place. Warrington 3 from the last 6. Wigan also 3 from 6. So near neighbours, taking each other on a Friday night. Wigan.
You wouldn't have thought to say both sides would be going into this 3 from 6, would they?
No.
If you gone back towards start of the season, and you're going, Wigan's form of 3 from 6. You just wouldn't have been expecting to say that. No,
you wouldn't. And Warrington, I think until last week, you could have probably safely said, right, this is going to be a Wigan win every day of the week. The way that they're challenged at the weekend against Leigh speaks, or suggests they may.
Yeah, it speaks volumes, but that's why you're all over this season. And we keep saying this, like the Jekyll and Hyde side. They have those performances in their locker room. Whether they decide to bring them out or not is another thing. And I think if Wire turn up with the mentality that they had against Leigh, certainly in that first half, I do think they can challenge a Wigan side at the minute, and a Wigan side that actually aren't playing that great. I mean, I know they got the win last time out against Catalans, didn't they? But that wasn't convincing. Well, they got over the line easily enough, but it wasn't a great performance. It wasn't that interesting to watch, if we're being completely honest. Mm-hmm. So I do think Warrington stand a chance this week. But there are elements of Warrington's game they need to fix up.
Right, okay, so let's not go on about this game too long then. So how are you calling it?
Well, I had a few bits to fucking throw in there.
Oh, go on then. Have you got no more booms on your notes, have you?
No, we ain't got no more booms, but one element of Wire's game that I thought really changed this week was Danny Walker's back in the side.
Yeah.
They had 8 runs from dummy half this week, and Warrington have been averaging this season 1 or 2 runs from dummy half, and I think that played a big part. I know he was I think he started on the bench actually, didn't he? But
he also came off, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
He reported he's injured his arm, and we're waiting to hear whether he's actually going to feature this week. So,
yeah. And then if we start sort of talking about Wigan in a bit more depth, Harry Smith at the minute, without Bevan French, I don't think it's clicking very well. I know Farrimond had a really good game against Catalans, but I don't think it's quite clicked with Harry Smith, that half-back pairing at the minute. I know they need time to get into it. But yeah, I think that it's going to be interesting to see what we get from Wigan this week. So
are we saying that it's going to be a comfortable Wigan win unless Warrington turn up with their A game, in which case they could be a disappointment on the card?
I think it's actually going to be a close one.
Yeah?
I do think it's going to be a close game. I think Wigan are going to win. I predict a Wigan win. But like you say, if Warrington turn up how they did at the Leigh Sports Village at the weekend, they're definitely in with a chance.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Same sentiments from me. Moving on to the Saturday then, Karl, we've got top of the shop Hull KR sitting in first place, taking on 10th place Castleford Tigers. Hull KR 4 from the last 6, Cass 1. Just 1 win from the last 6. And the previous results then, Hull KR took the win 48-0. So a very, very convincing win in the previous game.
Yeah, I think this has got one-sided written all over it, hasn't it? Hull KR absolutely on fire. I know they were only playing Salford, but you can only win who you put in front of you. This is going to be a similar type of game. I've got to talk about Mikey Lewis at the weekend, though. He's playing so well. 8 try assists against. I know we're playing against Sulford. 8 try assists. He set up Burgess, God knows how many times. And do you know the part of his game that I really like now? His kicking game. His kicking game has improved so much.
Yeah, there's not a lot for me to say about that. We talk about Mikey Lewis probably every week. And it keeps this campaign for his England shirt number.
Exactly.
Going, and it just seems like I think just come out of that game a second. If Sean Wayne don't win these Ashes and he don't play Mikey Lewis, there's got to be questions asked here.
Yeah.
Because I think anybody outside the Wigan camp just think there's this underlying. It's a bit like the Nigel Wood-Bradford debacle. It's not really a debacle, but there's chance of it. People are asking questions, and it's a very, very similar thing. That people outside of that Wigan camp are talking about. So
everybody's saying it's Smith and Williams halfbacks for England. It's already nailed on the team sheet. Right now, if I'm England coach, the first name on my team sheet is Mikey Lewis.
Why? Why?
Because he is the best player in Super League.
So he's the informed player, and he's just creating.
You don't try and create an England team and see how you can slot him in. You put him on the team sheet first, and then you work out who can play with him. That, to me, is what we should be doing right now. I think he's the form player in Super League. I think that the elements of his game that weren't quite up to scratch possibly 12, 18 months ago, like his kicking game. I think
his petulance. There would have been a period.
I am bothered about that. Don't worry about that.
No, but what I'm saying is it did get in the way a couple of seasons back. Do you know what I mean? There were times when he just, his mouth or his actions just ran away with him. I think he's matured quite a bit, and actually, I think we need a bit of that. I don't see any of that niggle and that petulance from George Williams. I know he's a very experienced sort of campaigner. Same with Harry Smith. They just don't really. It's not part of their game. But I think he's got enough to rattle the Aussies, and he's got the skills to create points, score points, and to push that team around the pitch as well. So it's a weird one. It's a weird one.
Going back to the game, I think we can both pretty much say OKR. What do Castleford need to do to put up any sort of fight against OKR this weekend?
I don't think there's.
You don't think there's any chance of it happening? I'll tell you one area they're really just,
especially away,
struggling. Well. They didn't even get over 1,000 metres in the last game against Saints. They only made 827 metres were the total metres made by Cass. It was the lowest of any team last weekend. They definitely need to make more metres. When they did play well, it was a couple of weeks ago, the forward pack had a bit more go about them. I think Westerman led from the front. They've got to have a decent charge in the forward. I don't think the forward pack's big enough, in all honesty. But yeah, they need to have a good go in the forwards to give Cass any sort of platform to work off.
I just don't even think that's to say you've got to make more metres, but actually in making those more metres, there's so many things that have to be performed at a top level.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's almost too much of a task from my point of view. And I know there'll be Cass fans there that, well, they might not be. They might completely agree. They understand Hull KR have got all those facets covered, and for Cass to come along and take a win, I mean, not only will it be a huge shock in my opinion, like it will have to have been a phenomenal performance by them and an absolute dog crap performance by Hull KR.
Maybe they just need to work on getting a few people sent off. Get under Hargreaves' skin.
Well, if Hargreaves is playing, I mean, he's.
Oh, is he in the disciplinary this week?
He's one
point
away from a ban, isn't he?
Oh, well, there you go.
So and he had that little bit of a scuffle with Justin Sangare at Sulford. So I don't know, but there's more than just JWH in Hull KR.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
But he's your first target.
Yeah, so...
Anyway, let's call it. I'm going Hull KR win by, I think we picked the margin on this one. I'm saying by 20 points.
Yeah, I'm saying
at least.
I'm saying Hull KR by 30.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be a 48-0 like it was before, but I think 30 points. Second game on Saturday, we've got Huddersfield Giants sitting in 11th place, taking on Catalans, who are sitting 9th place. Giants 3 from the last 6, and Catalans 1 from the last 6. So when we talked about like all the excitement front-loaded this week, this perhaps is going to be a bit of a damp squib.
It could be, although the two sides that they're fairly on each other's levels, aren't they? So maybe it'd be a competitive poor game.
Right.
I don't know. That was the bad way of putting it. But yeah, I think, Huddersfield played well, didn't they, last game? Beat Hull FC, looked pretty dangerous in attack. Lolohea played well. George Flanagan's, we keep mentioning him every week. He's playing really good stuff at the minute. So yeah, if I look at that and then I look at Catalans' last few performances, Catalan have been pretty dreadful. However, against Wigan, there definitely was an improvement there. They went fairly about the business, fairly steady. They didn't make as many errors. I think completion was a lot better from them. So they definitely challenged. They definitely challenged Wigan in the last game.
But I mean, you're talking about like Giants played better against Hull FC, but when you did like a bit of an analysis on the stats from that game, in essence, it boiled down to Hull FC handing the game through errors
they did.
Giants. And all right, I'm not taking away from the fact the Giants capitalised on those errors. So, you know, if Catalan do a similar kind of thing, Huddersfield have definitely got in their locker to capitalise on those errors and take a win. It's at Huddersfield, so, you know, Catalan have got the travel to deal with.
Yeah.
So, and maybe Giants are a bit boasted. You know, there's progress being made with the old ground thing, isn't there, at the minute? Like they seem to have identified a spot for the stadium.
That was a well-timed statement, wasn't it, last week?
Yeah, just drop that in.
Just as everything was blowing up on Twitter, it was like, oh yeah, by the way, Ralph Rimmer's come back as well. It's like,
do you know what that is?
They just slipped it in.
Yeah, just slipped it in. It's like that. We can't get any worse, so just slip that in as well. So
it was absolutely comical, the timing of that last week.
Well, it is, and there's no doubt. I mean, he has been around Rugby League, Super League for a long time, you know. But that just seemed weird, didn't it? You know, what was the fallout on Twitter from that announcement?
Well,
from your opinion, because obviously you aren't doing like some kind of random controlled trial, are you? But
no, well, I think he's been brought on to try and help push the ground forward. In all honesty, which. There's all the conspiracy theories out there. It was like, oh, one of Nigel Wood's mates is back, which was the first thing I saw when I saw it. I laughed a little bit. I was like, oh my God, the old guard are all back. But then, yeah, when you actually look at why he's been brought back, it's to help push the stadium plans forward. So conspiracy theories can be shut down on that one.
Yeah, but they're not helping themselves, are they?
No, they're not. And the timing of it was terrible. Like, it was absolutely terrible. Anyway, Huddersfield Catalan. I don't have loads to say about either team, to be honest with you. I expect, although Catalan are finding the feet under Joel Tompkins, I think if Huddersfield can play how we know they can play at home, I think Huddersfield will win. Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I think it'll be another similar script to the last game the Giants played, where the errors that Catalan make, the Giants capitalise on them and ultimately take the win there. So good luck to those at the weekend. Right, Sunday's game then, we've got Hull FC at home, Karl, which is going to play a part. Currently sitting in 7th place, taking on Salford 12th place. Hull FC 3 from the last 6, and then, as we know, Salford just 1 win from the last 6. Interestingly, previous result was Salford, they beat Hull FC, beat Salford 38 points to 6 away. Yeah, and the old Salford debacle's just gone on too long now, hasn't it? That was a terrible advert for rugby on Thursday night, watching them go up against Hull KI. It was what everybody expected, and we know it's been coming for weeks, and it's just a difficult watch. And by the way, if we're going to put a game on the Sky Plus game, put that one on there, you know what I mean? Don't have that as our headline Thursday night game. I mean, I know the schedules are probably done weeks in advance, but yeah, it was a terrible look for the sport. You got a feel for the Salford players. It sounds like the pay's still been messed around, and they've lost another player. I think Chris Hill's on his way to Bradford by all accounts now. So I think the players are unhappy, the fans are unhappy, and we're just seeing a slow demise of Salford that essentially has just gone on too long. You mentioned Chris Hill. I mean, I was guilty. I'll put my hand up here. I thought that was a bit of a bad signing, Chris Hill, at the start of the season for Salford. I've got to say, I take every bit of that back. Yeah, exactly. I think he's been an absolute talisman for Salford this year, and by all accounts, been playing through injury. To pull on a shirt for that team week in, week out, and has been brilliant. Yeah, he has. Always finds his elbows and knees. He's just a quick play of the ball.
you've got to account for him because he's just a huge body and he just doesn't stop working. So fair play, Chris Hill. You know, you've made me look like an idiot.
Yeah, no, I can only agree with what you've said there.
I'm an idiot.
Well, that and the fact that I was probably guilty of thinking it was probably not the best signing for Salford, but yeah, he's absolute been a rock for that team, and he hasn't just been. It's not just his leadership that's helped. I think he is actually playing really good rugby.
Yeah,
and good signing that actually for Bradford going into the
Super League.
Should we move on?
Back to Ralph Rimmer.
Hull FC, let's have a look at little Hull FC. So they beat Wakefield, they beat Wigan, 2 massive performances. It was like, right, we're back at home now, big win coming up here against Huddersfield, and absolute fell to pieces, didn't they? Just a terrible performance by Hull FC in the last game against Huddersfield.
We keep going on about it, but they've got to shake this monkey off the bat. We were there, first game of the season. Do you think it's us? We were there first game of the season, weren't we?
Yeah.
And they lost. We were like, oh, hell, that's terrible. And they barely won at home.
They've won one game at home, haven't they?
Yeah. So
I thought the game against Huddersfield was like, right, they're going to back it up now with 2 home wins.
Yeah.
And then you had this one to come into the mix. You expect them to win here.
And you just thought they'd build up a little bit of a momentum there.
Yeah, they've got loads of home games coming in this back 8 sort of set of fixtures. It's like Hull FC actually could really mount something here for the playoffs. But derailed them massively. That loss against Huddersfield. Looking at the stats from that, there's some real interesting stats from that game. So they had more carries than Huddersfield. I know there's mitigating factors into all this. They had more carries than Huddersfield. They made 300 metres more than Huddersfield with the ball in hand. They had 38 tackle breaks to Huddersfield's 26. They only missed 26 tackles to Huddersfield's 38. So they literally, if you look at the stats, you looked at that before you looked at scoreline, you go, surely Hull FC won this game. But then there's the big error count. They made 14 errors to Huddersfield's 6 errors, and that was the difference between the two sides. If they cut out those errors, I think they'll put a really strong performance on this week.
What did you put them errors down to?
Don't know. It's hard to say, innit? Lack of concentration. It could be anything, couldn't it? Really, but that's a high error count, and all Huddersfield did was just had a better completion rate, and that was the reason they won.
Right. So then they've got to put a. I mean, can you imagine if they lost to Salford this week at home?
They won't lose to Salford this week at home.
No, but imagine if they did.
They won't though.
But imagine if they did.
Well, they'd be up in arms if they did. And they'd probably be able to hear them laughing from over the bridge on the other side.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I will be going nuts. Right, okay, so we're both saying it's a Hull FC convincing win.
Hull FC convincing win. I just hope Salford can put up some sort of a fight because...
Well, they're scoring points. They are scoring.
Not many.
The odd try.
Yeah.
No, but they are. You know, it's not like they're just handing games. They're putting in as much effort as they can, aren't they? So, yeah.
I'm saying Hull FC by 16 points.
Right.
Or more.
I'm going to say Hull FC by 20.
Right.
By 20 points. Right, so that's it. That's the predictions for this week. Karl, anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap up?
The Bedford Tigers video's dropping this week, isn't it?
I'm cutting this out.
Is Bedford Tigers video's dropping this week, isn't it?
I'm waiting on you, mate.
Yeah, Wednesday, Bedford Tigers, behind the scenes, access all areas. It's a belter. Community Rugby League, I know. Watch it. You'll enjoy it. Is it going out this week?
I'm waiting on your credits.
All right, yeah. Well, he's just sent them to me, so there we go. Done.
Brilliant.